Sport requires effort, sweat and strong will, and Macron knows it. A leading global company with Italian DNA in the production and sale of sportswear, when Macron first entered the sports world in 1971, it was a small yet strong player. Since then, Macron has been growing at a very fast pace, supporting teams, sportsmen and women at all levels, working hard to supply them with the best technical products to help improve their performances. With over 4 million pieces of stock available in our Italian warehouse and an extensive range of on-field, off-field and free-time products, we cater for everyone from amateurs to professional sporting organisations, even referees. Ranked third most prominent football brand by the UEFA, Macron keeps expanding its presence worldwide, including Australia, where we are currently proud partners of Perth Glory, Macarthur FC, Port Adelaide and Parramatta Eels, and more to come. Work hard, play harder, Macron, your next teamwear partner. For more information, visit our website at www.macronvic.com.au or call us on 1800 Macron.
Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Rise, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us here on the Football Out West show. It's episode 76 this year. It's not going to be our final episode, but we are starting to get closer and closer towards the end of the year. My name is Tonci Prusak, and I'm going to be with you over the next, 90 minutes or so as we deliver you this very, very special episode of the Football Out West show. And I'll be joined by my 2 co-hosts. Firstly, Craig Filer, who is going to be joining me as well here. Craig, good evening and a very, very, very warm welcome to you. How are you?
Very well, Tonch. Good evening, listeners. Yeah, very well. Beautiful day today. First time in Altona for almost 18 months, I think, due to COVID, because obviously we couldn't get there. But we took a dog down for a walk this morning. It was very, very nice. Good to see thousands of people out enjoying themselves today.
Great to see, and they were all enjoying the sunshine before the drizzle set in.
Absolutely.
Speaking of drizzle, my friend Steve Curtin, he's coming in. How are you? I don't know if that was the right way to introduce you or not.
Yeah, it's not the best introduction you've ever given me, but you usually outsell my actual usual output, so that's fair enough. A little bit of drizzle outside right now, but I think
when it comes to introductions, mate, you are the king. I must admit, I take my cap off to you. You do a sterling job, I tell you what. But all jokes aside, how are you? How's things with yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. And just hearing Craig mention Altona just gave me memories of standing up on the scaffold there at Paisley Park, and how we missed doing that in the latter part of the season this year. And hopefully we can do that again. just all part of the experience, the wind and the rain, and good quality football happening on the park. It's fantastic. Good kebapi rolls, the whole works. Fantastic stuff.
Whole kit and caboodle. Well, gents, as we're nearing the end of a calendar year, clubs now are starting to prepare for next year, and that's the best that they can do, I suppose. A little bee in my bonnet, I must admit, though. Tonight, by the way, we've got a fantastic show lined up, courtesy of our major sponsor, the Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, and we're going to have some great guests. We'll talk a little bit later on about that. But, gents, I don't know about you guys, but I know I've been hearing a few people crying, complaining, sooking, whatever you want to call about it, that it's too much about George Cross. Well, they are our major sponsor, and thank you very much to George Cross. It's because of sponsors like that we're able to deliver this show. So I would like to make an appeal to all those clubs, all those people who are complaining. Get your club involved. Next year, it's going to be a bigger and better year, and we hope that it's going to be a complete football season. So do make sure that your club gets on board. We want to see as many clubs in the western suburbs getting on board the show, Craig.
No, absolutely, Tonci. Well said, mate. It's we've said it before, and people can moan that we spend time with George Cross, but they are, as you said, they are a major sponsor, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do the show. So, as you said, mate, if you do want to get involved, pretty simple. Get in touch with us.
Not very hard to do. Now, let's go. Speaking of tonight's guests, we've got quite some important guests coming on tonight's show. Steve, who are our guests for tonight's show?
Yeah, well, taking it from the top, the president there from George Cross, Mark Sultana. Also, we've got Liza Djuric and their new TD, John Floros. So there they are on your screen there if you're watching us at the moment, and looking forward to speaking to all three of those. Especially, haven't spoken to John yet, so looking forward to hearing what he's all about as the new TD there, replacing Mr. George Gero as well. So very exciting.
Yeah, some interesting times at most clubs now. We're also hearing just before we went on air, Preston Lions also announcing that Luachevsky is back for a 6th year. And that's big news because apparently that makes him the longest serving Preston coach, which is quite an extraordinary achievement. So absolutely fantastic stuff there. Lots of news. Steve, let's get straight into it, hey? And let's talk. Let's kick it off, I guess, with the Socceroos coming up this weekend or this week. Big international window.
All right, so getting into the news then, and just quickly big shout out to the man Santino, who I saw at Western Beach on Friday. Now, Socceroos squad announced for the upcoming games this Friday morning. We've got a home match in Qatar again, and we're playing Oman, and then we've got Japan on Tuesday night at a much more hospitable hour there. You can see that on the screen there. 7:14 local time or 9:14 Australian Eastern Standard Time.
That work?
Game on Tuesday.
7:14.
Yeah, they're very precise. Well, look, they're very precise very precise in Japan with, I think, public transit and things. Looks like that's extended to this football kickoff.
Very, very, very interesting kickoff time. That I've never seen that before. But anyway, let's go.
The squad there. Fran Karacic back in the squad, which is good to see. A bit of competition for Ryan Grant there at right back, and also we have Chris Economides, an A-League based player who's been allowed to get into the squad, and I think he's been given some special permissions to come home and get straight back into training and not have to spend 2 weeks in the hotel. I think that's right anyway. So good to see A-League players back in the squad who've earned their spot and deserve to be there. So hopefully we'll see Lecky and a few others in there in the future as well. So what do you think of the squad, guys?
Craig?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, it's not good. It can't change that much because of the COVID situation, can it? So it's very much, with the exception of the two that you've spoken about, Steve, very much the squad that played in the qualifiers recently. More for my side. When are they actually looking to play home fixtures? Actually, in Australia, is that not coming up?
Next one against Saudi Arabia should be at home. So we've got the Matildas coming up with 2 games at home against Brazil late October, and that should be that should pave the way for the Saudi Arabia game to happen in the next FIFA window, which I think is around the 11th of November, and that'll be at Parramatta there at the newly named CommBank Stadium. So we have to just wait for confirmation, but that should be the case.
Yeah. Yeah, but that'd be a good test over in certainly be a good test over in Japan next week.
Big test.
Big test for them. We'll just see. Yeah, we'll see exactly how far Graham's come with his squad, I suppose.
Yeah, so that's Tuesday week, and as Steve said, it is at a godly hour, so Australian Eastern Daylight Time. By the way, I hope everyone has moved their clocks forward an hour. If you're tuning in now and thinking we should be finishing up, we're just starting because it is 7 o'clock or 7:10 p.m. At the moment. So yeah, that's going to be a decent hour. Gents, for initial thoughts about Channel 10's coverage or 10 Play or whatever you want to call it. We've seen a little bit of Socceroo games and we've seen some FFA Cup games as well. Thoughts about the coverage or the broadcasting so far?
Steve?
Yeah, look, I think so far so good. They've had good people working on the calls for the games, good people on the analysis panels. 10 Play's been really good for the FFA Cup so far. It was good seeing last weekend we had that prime time Sunday afternoon game, which was good. And I'm looking forward to Paramount Plus sort of kicking off when they've got a bit more content as well. And I mean, we won't know until the season starts, I suppose, but definitely so far so good. And I'm pretty happy with how they've embedded A-League and national team stories into their mainstream news more so than the other commercial networks, which is very good to see.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Socceroos or ex-Socceroos, an appointment during the week announced. Our old mate Spider Callas, who was a one-time guest on this show, has signed with a lowly third division Croatian outfit. I do believe this is his first senior coaching gig, gents.
I think so.
I think he was at Sydney United, perhaps.
Was he at Sydney United? He may have been.
I think he was before he went over to Greece. I think so. Yeah.
He may have been. Now, it is for those of you that don't really know much about Croatian football, it's a very, very competitive league. And where Baška Voda is, it's about an hour south of Split, and there's about 5 third division clubs in the near proximity. So he's certainly got his hands full. They're on the bottom of the ladder. Last night they lost 3-0 to the top of the team side, Hrvatski Vitez, or translators Croatian Knights. And they suffered a 3-0 loss. So he has got his hands full. But if there is one silver lining for Spider, this is the resort town that he's coaching from. Very picturesque. And I'll tell you what, he'll probably be sitting down by the seaside there, plotting his next moves with drinking a coffee or what you're not, espresso, but a lovely little place. But it's not going to be lovely if he doesn't get that team off the bottom of the ladder, but good luck to him. And Steve, speaking of coaching appointments, we must mention our very own Craig Filer. He's got a new gig. We won't make too much of a big deal about it, but Craig, congratulations on your
congrats, Craig, on the new gig.
Gig at George Cross. So all the best for that, mate. Wishing you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good opportunity for me, and we all know where they're trying to be and the facilities they've got. So a real pleasure to be asked to coach, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Now, Western United, Steve. Last week we had Chris Palavanis on, and there was lots of talk about the much maligned Lakeside Stadium deal, no deal, whatever you want to call it. There's been some updates with regards to that in the press this week.
Yeah, so on Friday, sort of very late in the day, almost trying to bury it, perhaps, which would be fair enough. There's those 2 games, at least those 2 games so far that are in the first 6 rounds of the fixture. As obviously the fixture's only been released for the first 6 rounds so far. Those first 2 games at Lakeside have now been updated, and they're at Amy Park or Melbourne Rectangular Stadium, if you prefer the non-commercial naming. So those games will be taking place there, and it's assumed that the others that were going to be scheduled for Lakeside later in the stadium will most likely be there as well, in the most part. So, yeah, that saga is over pretty quickly, and I think it's 1-0 to South Melbourne there, and they're not even in the actual A-League yet. They've already got a victory.
Pretty much.
I think I think it's the right decision. Anyway, I think from my side, I think the A-League should have come in sooner and done that. And I know Melbourne Victory and both Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City didn't really want Western United playing there, but I think the A-League should have come in slightly earlier and got involved rather than having the nonsense that we've had over the last 2 weeks, because it's not fair. It's not fair on anybody. I suppose South Melbourne are quite within their right of kicking up a stink, although I'm not particularly happy with the way they've gone about it. But look, that's their choice. Western United obviously are in a little bit of trouble in terms of their ground because they haven't got a ground. So look, I think it's the right decision for football in Victoria. So I'm glad it's been put to bed and everybody can move on.
And everyone's moving on, and we're moving on. Craig, Perth Glory, they are indeed making some big announcements in the signing department, or one signing and one departure. Daniel Sturridge, ex-Liverpool legend, has signed on, but they look like maybe losing Diego Castro.
Yeah, if I was a Perth Glory fan, I'd be more excited or more devastated about losing Diego Castro than I will of the signing of Daniel Sturridge. He's played 13 games in 4 years, Tonci.
Yeah.
It's everybody's getting excited that you've got an ex-Liverpool player coming to. And don't get me wrong, if he gets himself fit, we know he can score goals. There's no doubt. Right, yeah. But he hasn't showed that in the last 3 to 4 years. So again, whether it's one of those signings just to get bums on seats, as it tends to happen a lot over here, it's not a signing I'm drooling at, if I'm honest, because I don't think. But hey, let's hope I'm eating my words in 4 months' time and he scored 30 goals and he's best player in the season. But
how old is he? Is he still relatively young? I mean, I don't think he's in his late 30s, is he? But he'd be early 30s, wouldn't he?
No, he'd be early 30s, yeah.
Not so old. Yeah, 32.
32, is it? Yeah.
Just gone 32 in September.
You know, when he was on form in his early days, when he went to Liverpool, he was outstanding. But he's just gone through this phase of injury after injury after injury. He's gone abroad. He's been out of football for a while through some issues that he had with betting scandals. And let's see what happens when he does arrive. But I'm not that excited about that one, I have to say.
Now, before we do go on, we've got to put this comment up. Dale Harris, a good fan of the show, friend of the show, and he says, Craig, to you, sad you're not going to be a North pal. Great character on and off the field. Super passion, works tirelessly off the pitch as well to get the best out of his players. All the best, Filer. SGC are lucky to be getting you, and we agree with that. Well done to George Cross, and that's some nice comments there, just to make you all embarrassed.
Yeah, look, I will say, I am embarrassed. Actually, I did say to you earlier on, I don't want to make a meal of this. So, but I will say, while that message come up, the response I've had from everybody, not just at North, but the football fraternity has been fantastic, and I thank you all very much. And we're going to really excited about getting involved now and getting on the training pack. But thanks to everybody at North, it's been a fantastic few years with them.
Yeah, and fantastic thanks to everyone in the comments section. Geez, I love the comments section, and it seems to be every week it just gets more and more active. And kudos to everyone who does join us in the comments section. We come across about 3 or 4 different platforms, and we're able to see all the comments here. So Brenton Ray, as usual, the newsman, he's got so many news information that's coming through. So well done. Keep that up. I'll put that one up there. We did mention this. Combat Stadium is set to host Saudi Arabia on Thursday, November 11th. Before we go on, guys, also a big shout out to 2 members that joined up this week. Nick Trajewski and Lauren Waite. Lauren is the bronze member. Nick Trajewski is a gold member. And to our existing member, Vladimir Zetovic as well. Big Vlad has been with us and been supporting us through thick and thin. So we thank those people. Only 3 members. We do need more members to join up, folks. And now in the off season, we need your support because it's going to keep us going and giving us a good platform going into next year. Now, if you want to become a member of the show for as little as $15 a month, it's patreon.com/football out west show. It's not hard and not much, and we really do appreciate your support. So thank you very much. There's my community announcement, Steve. Onto the EPL we go, hey?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, let's have a look at some of those talking points from last night. Probably that game that everyone watched was that early game, Man United, Everton, and Andros Townsend with the Ronaldo-esque celebration was a good talking point. Everyone thought he might have been taking the mickey out of the great man, but it was something that he did in awe of Ronaldo. It was such a I don't know, a pivotal player to be playing alongside or against on the same field. So, and Anthony Martial with the goal earlier for Man United. What do we think of that game, guys?
Yeah, look, I thought Everton, a very under strength Everton side, I thought were very, very good. You can say what you want about Rafa Benitez, but he does get his team organised. They're passionate. They work very hard off the ball, and I thought they played very well. Although I will question, as most football pundits would, the decision to leave Ronaldo and Pogba on the bench was a very, very strange one for me. When you're under pressure as much as Solskjaer is at the moment, surely you want your best players on the park. And I certainly think Pogba's a far better player than Fred. In fact, I think you're a better player than Fred, Tonci.
I think there's no arguments there at the moment from any of the audience.
Yep. No, that's true. That's true. I'm interested about the Leeds United win over Watford.
Much needed win there for Leeds, wasn't it? Diego Llorente with the goal.
Yeah, much needed. So if we go on to the ladder, the top 10, so to speak, and Craig, look at Brentford, newly promoted. They're hitting the highs of the EPL. They're doing very, very well. But I guess overnight the big game is going to be Liverpool versus Man City, and that's a really ungodly hour. What is it?
2:20 a.m.
2:20 a.m.
Yeah, it doesn't help with the clocks going forward now, does it? So or backwards, whatever it is.
It just gets harder now. Yeah, it's
it does.
Far out.
Yeah, but that favours more the night games.
Yeah, that is a fantastic game to watch, and it'll be really interesting to see how both coaches set up there, because they know each other very, very well. And looking at Manchester City's last game against Chelsea, where they had, I think, 75% of the game, whether that will be the same sort of setup against Liverpool at Anfield, of course, which is always a very, very difficult place to play. They wouldn't have played there under a crowd for the last year or so because of COVID. So it'll be a very, very different atmosphere that Man City go into at Anfield today.
Steve, it's a case of the league's most potent attacking lineup against the league's most efficient or effective defensive lineup. It's going to be a ding dong battle, as they say. Could this almost be a precursor to who actually wins tonight's game? Would be the likely title favourite? I know it's early days yet, but
early days. Oh, look, I think Chelsea have a bit to say about that as well. They're just getting the job done at the moment without necessarily playing amazingly well, but getting the wins. But yeah, that's my pick out of those three, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, look, you can't go past. If you look at Man City last year, guys, they were out of it at Christmas, and they went on a 26 game unbeaten run that eventually got them. So I think, look, it'll just be bragging rights for this weekend, and certainly your Man City, Chelsea, Man United, and Liverpool will certainly be up there fighting it out come the end of the season.
At the other end of the table, Craig, it's very tight though. You know what? 2 wins separates 11th placed Wolves from second last place Newcastle. So, I mean, we've seen Leeds United shoot up the ladder with just one with the win there overnight. So it's still, as we said, early days, but it's quite an interesting battle, not just at the top, but also at the bottom in the EPL.
Yeah, it is, Tonci. Norwich, look, I think we can safely say they're doomed, even at this very, very early stage. Minus 14 goal difference after 7 games is huge. 1 point. Newcastle, look, and that's been announced that Steve Bruce is not going to lose his job. He'll be there till the end of the season, or at least until the club's found a buyer. He must have one of the most difficult jobs in football, because the Newcastle faithful are very, very passionate over there in the UK, and his hands are tied by an owner who has no idea how to run. I say no idea how to run a business because he's got a very successful business, but he clearly can't run a football club.
A football club anyway.
And it's must be whatever you think again of Steve Bruce and his style of football. Sometimes you can only deal with what you've got available to you, and maybe that what he's got available is just not good enough for the Premier League. And I'm afraid I think they will be going down with Norwich this year. But who else? take your pick out of the rest, I think.
Yeah, yep. Very tight there. Okay, moving on to continental Europe, and we move over to the boot. Italy, Serie A. Steve, some results there overnight. Some interesting results. Mainly, Juventus has painted Turin black and white, as someone said. I think it was Santino Mamone, good friend of the show's, and a big Juve supporter, said earlier today. 1-0 win in the Turin derby.
Yeah, very good result there. Santino very happy with that one. So good result. Plenty of games to come still tonight there as well, starting from 9:30 our time there with Bologna Lazio. So I might be able to catch a glimpse of that one after the show at a nice hospitable time, unlike some of those EPL games. But Inter Milan kept their winning ways going, and then also we had a win for Salernitana, who was much a bit of a surprise over Genoa. That's a big shock there. And 1-1 in the other game, Cagliari and Venezia.
Venezia collecting a few points here and there, slowly starting to accumulate some points, which is good to see. The newly promoted side there from the great Venetian city, but up the top there,
Salernitana off the bottom as well now for the first time.
Yeah, so interesting movements happening there as well. But if we look at the top there, Craig, Napoli doing very well. Inter Milan, Roma, Fiorentina, they're all in shooting distance, but Inter Milan have played a game extra. Once again, early days yet, but it's another nice tight battle developing at the top of the Serie A competition. Inter Milan have played a game extra. Once again, early days yet, but it's another nice tight battle developing at the top of the Serie A. What's going on there? We're getting a bit of an echo. Game extra.
Some feedback.
Early days yet, but it's another.
It's
on Craig's. Craig.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on now. I can hear about 15 people.
Some feedback. This has got to be the highlight of the night.
I don't know what's going on there.
Well, look, the talking point there, Napoli, really good start to the season. They had a bit of a hiccup in the Europa League during the week against Spartak Moscow. They're going very well. Oh, I'm hearing myself back now as well. This is great. Can we stop this?
Yeah, I think we've done that now. It's coming from Craig's area, so maybe Craig might need to just log on and log off. I think I've just muted him, but I'll unmute you. How you there? Is that better, Craig?
That sounds better.
Yeah, all good.
Better. Okay, all right. Don't know what happened there. Not sure. But yeah. Okay, gents, moving along. Let's go to the Bundesliga now. Just a quick overview of the ladder. We'll get through this very, very quickly because we've got a heap of guests coming on later tonight. Steve, very quickly, just to give us a bit of a roundup, what's happening in the German First Division.
Yeah, we've got a couple of the real red-hot favourites there, Bayern and Dortmund leading the way. But, yeah, one of my faves there, Freiburg, doing very well. One of those smaller teams. They're about to move into a new stadium, I believe, too. And Bayer Leverkusen, who had a big win over Angers Celtic in the Europa on Friday morning, our time there, looking good with the game in hand there in fourth place. And the other challenger, Wolfsburg's, one to watch. Probably those top five will hang on to those places for quite a while, I'd say, unless the likes of RB Leipzig can sneak into those positions.
Well, Wolfsburg last night suffered a bit of an unfortunate result. 1-3 going down to Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think that is the best sounding name of any club in the world, Borussia Mönchengladbach. Yeah. It's a great one. And they did get a red card in the 76th minute. Maxence Lacroix. I don't know how to pronounce that. French, I think, must be. He got a red card in the 76th minute. So Mönchengladbach shooting up into the sort of the top echelon of the Bundesliga there. Apart from that, though, I think we've got Bayern playing Eintracht Frankfurt once again at that ungodly hour, 2:30 tomorrow morning. And Leverkusen taking on Arminia. And that's at 4:30. So two important games there. Leverkusen, they can also jump up into sort of a, close to the top there. But Bayern, once again, they can shoot off to potentially a 4-point gap at the top there of the German Bundesliga.
Scary stuff. The one-horse race.
Yeah.
Speaking while you're on Germany there, for fans of Australian football, obviously Kual's over there with Stuttgart, and he's ripping it up in their reserves league. I think he scored 7 goals in 10 games or 10 goals in 7 games. So he's doing really, really well over there as well.
So
and with
good to see.
their first team sitting in 12th place there, it has to be only a matter of time before he comes into some kind of consideration. I don't know, they won't want to rush him in, but you've seen videos of those goals on Twitter, these scores every week, and they're very impressive individual efforts usually too. They're not he's not just goal poaching or anything really. He's actually doing a lot of the lead up work to the finish as well. As we saw with his work in Mariners and
And how long is it before he's in Graham Arnold's thoughts as in the national team?
Yeah, well, he can't be far away.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving along now to speaking of one horse race competitions, PSG at the top, Steve, and they do not look like being troubled for some time yet. 8 games, 8 wins, 24 points. They're sitting pretty at the top of the league.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, these one horse races are a little bit concerning, aren't they? They're playing. They're playing Rennes tonight at 10 p.m. That's an away fixture for PSG. So again, might be able to watch that one on the BN/KO if you got subscription to that tonight at 10 o'clock. That's a pretty good time slot.
It is a good time slot, isn't it? Yeah. So there's not much more to report there. But when we talk about Spain overnight, Craig, rather interesting result there. Barcelona 0, Atletico Madrid 2 in Madrid. Barcelona, well, they're really in the doldrums, aren't they?
Yeah, post Messi, of course. They're in a lot of trouble over there. Not only with financially, but obviously on the pitch, 7 games, 12 points. But still only 5 points behind. But Real Madrid and Athletic. Again, Athletic, you know what you're going to get with them. Very well organised, very defensive, catch people on the break. He's one of the best coaches in world football for me, Simone. As much as I don't particularly like him as a coach, I think he's fantastic. And look, Barcelona will be up there come the end of the season for sure.
Steve, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Craig there. I think Barca having a bit of trouble in the Champions League midweek as well. They might bounce out of that, and then they might be able to focus on using that core of young players. They've got some pretty good young players in there, returning back from injury as well at the moment. So, look, I think, they'll come back.
Now we've got, I think it's Chris Briffa says, hey guys, do you think Angie's in trouble at Celtic? Needs more time. Team wasn't much when he got there. Steve, what do you think?
Look, here's the thing. He came in and he assessed what he had. He was very active in the transfer market, which only closed, what was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago at the most. So he's sort of starting again with a lot of areas of his team, and he's going to need more time. We saw their performance against Leverkusen, and while they create chances, they made some conceded some goals through some a mixture of misfortune and some real individual errors and things like that. So I think they just need a little bit more time to get their confidence up as a group and get to understand each other and what Ange is trying to do. Whether he gets that or not, well, I mean, let's hope so. But sitting in 6th place there, obviously they got the game in hand there still to play tonight. So
they're
hopefully
playing
they can get the win.
Taking on Aberdeen at 10 o'clock, while Rangers taking on 3rd place Hibs Hibernian. That's at 1 a.m. So, that could be an interesting game. Either of those two teams could potentially overtake Hearts at the top of the Scottish Premier League. But, Chris, what do you think? Pop it down in the comments section. We've got Tony Hutto Hudson. He's saying he's doomed. They still think that Celtic are a world power. Paul Kovarkas says, Ange has proven himself. If you give him time, he will produce. So some great debate happening in our comment section. Much appreciated, folks. All righty, we're going to have a little bit of a break very, very quickly. When we do return, guys, we're going to have the very, very first of our guests, and it is the president of George Cross himself, Mark Sultana. He'll be joining us very, very shortly. Guys, don't go away.
Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Rise, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Palmer night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Palmers. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton. 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It is episode 76, and it is an absolute pleasure that we've got the Caroline Springs George Cross Club featured in tonight. It's a very special episode tonight. And without further ado, let's invite the president of the George Cross Football Club, Mark Sultana, a very, very welcome guest always on our show. Mark, it's great to have you back again. How are you?
Great, thank you. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely,
fantastic.
mate.
It's like you're in the kitchen at Vista, mate.
Yeah,
No, just still on my own, still at home on my own. Just made some dinner prior to coming on board. So no, all good. Vacuumed this morning, tidied up, done the washing. It's all good.
Look at you, all ready to go.
Had a shave. I actually had a shave too today.
What do you like to cook on a Sunday evening, Mark?
Oh, I spoiled myself actually. I had some prawns this evening. I went to the market and spoiled myself actually.
But no, all jokes aside, you are looking quite good. You're looking quite healthy. You're looking quite young. Things have started looking at next season. Most clubs are, but you're a club that has always been kind of at the forefront of strategic planning, strategic thinking. We're going to have a couple more. Obviously, we're going to have Liza Djuric, General Manager, on a little later on, and John, the new technical director as well, coming on. But mate, bring us up to date with what's been happening behind the scenes, because a lot has been happening at George Cross.
A lot. Look, again, you're right. And hello to everyone that loves George Cross and has dialed in. And for those that aren't members, join up. But just prior to coming on board, I heard that there was a bit of pushback from other people saying this is a George Cross program. Look, it's not a George Cross program at all. It's a club that supports a portal that can give us a voice to actually promote our football clubs. So if the football community are naive to that, well then, hopefully they can learn through our leadership. But certainly there's a number of aspects that I do bring up as president of a club. And it's not only about George Cross, but it's all about the broader football community. And I think it's a shame that some would have that thought process. But anyway, we'll move on from there.
Yep.
In terms of George Cross, look, we unfortunately lost George Giro. And then obviously, went on a campaign to replace him, of which we had a number of outstanding applicants. And Lisa and I have been busy interviewing, and so has Eric. And we've all come together and, made a really, really great decision to employ John Floros to the club. And obviously, again, continue George's legacy and obviously, have it in a situation where we become a very premier junior and women's club. So there was a couple of things that needed to be done, and obviously we've done that. We've obviously appointed Craig Fowler as the reserves coach, which is a great appointment as well. Some people will say there's might be a tendency, a bit of bias from my end, but look, Craig and I are great friends, in football and outside of football, and it's not going to be to him not being able to be part of a George Cross program on Football Out West. I think not only does he bring the skills of obviously public speaking, but also for the fact that he's a great coach and can be a great mentor to a huge bunch of young people that are involved in our football club, and obviously, and that will also broaden into other teams as well through just general experience from Craig and what he brings to the table. We've reappointed Mark Gauci as the senior women's coach, which is a great appointment again. It's very difficult when you have a team like ours that got promoted without even playing a game. So we went from playing at State 5 to State 3. And then obviously Mark did a huge job in making sure that they were extremely competitive, of which they were. So we're now appointing, obviously, NPL coaches. John will take that on board now. I just got off a Zoom meeting not long ago with our current NPL coaches. John was very thorough in his communication. And look, again, we are trying to be at the forefront of appointments in our club, and let alone what else is out there that we attract. And we are attracting a lot of good applicants, which is great. I mean, again, it's testament to the management of the club through Lisa and George Giro and Eric and everybody involved. Like I said, this is not just myself. This is a lot of people involved in bringing George Cross to the table on so many fronts. So, yeah, that's sort of what's happening. Again, from the promotion relegation situation, Peter from Brunswick went on Greek radio tonight and obviously said the same thing that we continually say. This is not going away. If anything, it's probably... Sorry, guys, I should turn things off here. But anyway.
That's okay.
My phone's going mad.
Like a newsroom.
Yeah. So, look, this is not going away at all. They're probably playing a little delay tactics. I know they had a board meeting. Well, no, I can qualify that they did have a board meeting on Monday night. Kimon has responded in saying that they would try and come back to us in a timely manner. I'm not sure how long we're prepared to wait. Like I keep saying, they had the ability to correct this if they only followed their own communications, and they haven't. And people like myself who are passionate about the growth of football clubs and growth of football in Victoria, let alone Australia, deserve the right to be heard, whether it's good or whether it's through the legals. So we'll see how it goes.
And just on that, Mark, can you tell the listeners, I know it was put up, we tried to find the post earlier on, but we couldn't find it. Can you tell us what proposals the group put to Football Federation? Is that possible?
Yep. Look, really simple. It is promotion or relegation, and we keep continually saying that relegation isn't really something that we are fussed about because, again, there's precedence around that in 2019. So, and again, I say it all the time, albeit they completed the season, but still there is precedence around that. There's also the issue in regards to restructure. And they're the two main points. There's the third communication in regards to being recognised as champions, which also encompasses my first point about promotion. So, and look, there's clubs, there's clubs that are even, contemplating seeking compensation. So, let me tell you, wow. This is not going away. There's a lot of information across all of our 40 people, if not more now, that, how can I say this to you in a real nice way, quite disappointed. Football Victoria or football generally needs to understand that as football clubs, we are there for the betterment of the game, and we believe that there's a slight injustice here.
Look, either way, I mean, we've now into October, and as we said, clubs are already starting to plan for next year. And whether it's going to be a case of, okay, in George Cross's case, whether next year is State 1 or whether it's NPL 3, you'd want to know quite soon, because otherwise other clubs are going to get that head start as far as preparations and planning for next year. And look, either way, when you say Kimon Taliadoros has said they're going to get back into in a timely manner, well, you'd want that to be sooner rather than later, wouldn't you?
Look, the communication in NPL alone said that there'd be 14 teams in NPL 2.
Yeah.
That's been broadcasted. It's been communicated.
Yep.
Peter rang up Football Victoria last week and said that my assumption is that we continue on with that rhetoric and that planning. And Football Victoria quite categorically stated that they weren't going to comment on. I mean, come on, let's be serious here. You communicated that as well, okay? Now, if we're going to change the rules because NPL 1's clubs are somewhat upset about what we're trying to do, well, they don't run football. We're there to work together. We all aspire to be in NPL 1. Okay, so let's cut the bull, you know what I'm about to say. But, you know, this is the situation we've got at the moment, is the lack of communication. Well, sorry, not the lack of communication to some degree. The communication's been there, but they just haven't followed it. And there's been a number of issues. I mean, there's look, like I said, this is not because George Cross went out on a campaign to win State 1. We were told that up until August the 9th that we were entitled to believe that we were in a promotion and relegation situation. It is very simple, okay? This is not a difficult conversation. And I can't tell anymore that at the end of the day, we have the right to find out why it has changed so dramatically. And the impact that it has on clubs, let alone my brand, let alone our ambitions, let alone everything that we put together to actually try and give the public something they deserve, and that is a good club producing good footballers playing the great game. We all promote that it's the biggest game in the world. Well, let's show how big it is in Australia, and let's help clubs like George Cross to actually, you know, again, be given the chance to be promoted, albeit, again, it was communicated on the 9th of August. That's all. And they had the chance to play rounds 10 and 11. So if that's the case, we wouldn't even be here, of which they had the choice to do that. So, you know what? Again, it's very, very interesting how can I say this? How it'll play out, whether it's just through communication and negotiation or whether it's through legal representation, of which both are on the table.
All right, Mark, moving into picking the squads for your elite teams next season at the club, are the expressions of interest starting to fly in now for the players?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's again, we haven't really communicated that fully yet until John was put into the position, appointed. Again, look, just through the applications we're receiving through coaching and so forth has been unbelievable. So I would think that, again, the participation, remember what George Cross is about, it's all about retention, okay? So, you know, we hope to retain at least, let's say 100%, but I mean, we know that's somewhat impossible, but if we can get a retention rate of between 95 and 97%, I think the club's in a great position to be able to execute that. So, and those that need to do top-ups will obviously see what comes in front of them, and hopefully they'll get a gig at George Cross, which is a great thing, because you can see by appointing again and the club going through with a full-time TD role that we're still very, very invested in making sure that the junior program is strong.
Now, Mark, we did mention before, like particularly in the football, the small football community that we are, you're often wearing two hats, you know, at the one time, and you know, most of us do that here. But you're definitely wearing two hats in the sense that you're also representing the club with regards to talks concerning the second division, the national second division as well. So it's not just dealing with Football Victoria and internally, but it's also dealing with the proposed national second division. Have we got any update where we're at with regards to NSD?
No, not really. Just again, the models will need to be released. Interesting enough, when I was on Greek radio, James Johnson was on prior to myself, and they're still very heavily committed to that. I think everything there's a lot just waiting to see how this all pans out with NPL 1 and so forth. And again, how you actually, again, execute that NSD system, because it will have an impact on NPL 1s. I mean, the NPL 1 club said that they couldn't afford to play an extra 4 games, which that
was my next question, Mark. Do you think, going back to the conversation that we had there about promotion and relegation, do you think that the NPL clubs have had a massive say on this with Football Federation? In terms of they've put their case forward, exactly what you said then, is an extra 4 games a season. That could be potentially $80,000 to $100,000, and they can't afford it. Now, isn't it the other way that if they want to be part of the national second division, their license is going to be more than that? But you have to pay that in the instance anyway. Am I talking nonsense, or is that where we are?
No, you're not talking nonsense at all, mate. That's why, if there was a clear understanding of what. Well, hang on. I'll go back one step. If they supported 350 other clubs, they would agree to what we're asking for. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's an extra 4 games in NPL 1. However, it might be an extra 6 games in NSD. Now, is that because it's only select to the guys that have put their hands up? No, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, you budget your club to be able to, again, go through a program of understanding on what you can afford and where do you want to land as a football club. You don't actually have to be at the top tier of football for your club to be successful. I mean, it's a great way to manage. Don't get me wrong. It's a great way to aspire. It's a great way to bring everybody to the club. But if you're a clear communicator as a club and you let all your stakeholders know that this is your plan, that you are trying to achieve an NSD position, whether it be in the first year or within the third year, if you explain that to your participants and also your whole stakeholder in your club, let me tell you, you'll still get the same buy-in. I think what George Cross has proven is that if you communicate it, okay, and you manage it, okay, and you give everyone a clear pathway, whether it's playing or whether it's the road to success, okay, you'll get a buy-in. And no longer is football going to be accepted where we don't get a clear communication from the federation. And if the federation wishes to communicate that, well, that's great. We'll take it on board. We will help them. Like Kimon said, the FFV needs our support. So we should support them, but they've got to listen to us. And it's not just NPL ones that they should listen to, because a majority of, let's say, the power brokers fall within that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's a strong point, Mark. Bit of news recently about Western United, who train at George Cross. They're possibly moving out to the hangar at Tullamarine. If that was the case, would they still maintain a presence at George Cross, or would that be the end of the story?
That's a good question.
Look, absolutely, they'll retain a presence at George Cross. Chris is looking at where his club can bring his whole office and internal staff with his football staff. And unfortunately, George Cross can't provide any more office space. So that's one part of what may end up being that decision. Let's not joke, guys. We're a very, very, very close unit, Western United and George Cross. We all have our ups and downs, and we all fight what's best for both clubs. Okay, so it's never going to be, an easy road 150%, but we're very clear on our messaging that there's a long-term relationship, albeit once their facility is up and going in a real strong way, that will obviously probably come to an end in some way, and it may not. But they have our blessing. We have discussed this with the board and them for a long time. We were, again, had the ability to extend that, which was great. And they've brought a lot to us, and I think we've given them a lot as well. So I can tell you now, I don't think it's one way at all. But look, let's see what happens. We're just finalising a few things at the moment, and once that's available for us to be able to broadcast and publish, I'm sure we'll all be in touch with you guys and all our members and everything, and let everybody know what it is. But let me tell you, Steve, our relationship with Western United is strong and will always be strong. A lot of our members are Western United members, and a lot of our staff, voluntary staff, actually help Western United voluntary as well. So it would be amiss of me not to recognise that, and it would be amiss of me not to be able to place the club in a strong direction moving forward when you can attach yourself to an A-League club as close as what we've been over the last 3 years. So I think I've answered that question.
Yeah, very good. Well, it's good to see clubs working together, and hopefully we can see more of that across the board in Victoria. Yeah,
well, look, South Melbourne obviously made a change to that. But anyway, look, again, for the betterment of football, I think the decision was wrong. But someone actually rang me, the newspaper rang me, the Greek newspaper rang me and said what would happen to me. Look, George Cross is an entertainment venue as much as it's a club, okay? So if we can lift the calibre of grounds and an atmosphere and execution of a really great product, then I think we should be able to help each other. It will always be the home of Georgie's. It will always be the home of South Melbourne. Okay, again, but we've really got to understand, and you can see how much lobbying we need to do to the government and also to our local members, because again, you can see how strong the relationship with the Melton Council are with us, that if you continually support it and inquire what's available, how do you do it, we need to lobby these guys to get better facilities for everyone. It's a shame that an A-League club's struggling to find a home to play 7 games. It's really a shame.
Yeah, and therein lies the problem. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, and I hear it often, and we've been saying it till we're black and blue in the face, is, on the field, yes, we're the biggest of rivals. Off the field, we have to be very strategic and very collaborative, because, we're up against, a religion in this state called Aussie rules, which is just ridiculous when they, individual clubs will get $10 million of funding for their facilities. We're happy to be to get $250,000 for a World Game Fund or something like that. It's just so wrong, so wrong.
Well, Tonci, you on your Geelong West program, you had the guy from I think, was it Armstrong's Creek? On?
Yeah.
In the new development, exactly. Exactly. I think in the new development there was 2 soccer pitches, and I think it was 8 or 9 AFL grounds. So, and again, look, I know there's a mix there that you've got to facilitate that. And if Western United end up going to Essendon, well, obviously you can see there can be a marriage between, soccer / football, world football, let's say it, in regards to the AFL program as well. So, look, again, I am passionate about football. I'm passionate what it gives us, and that's called enjoyment. Okay? It is not just about George Cross continuously. I think I put my hat in so many areas, okay, is to show people that someone like myself, who is not from football originally, can actually come to a club as iconic as what George Cross is, and it does give me a leg up. Let me tell you, having been the president of George Cross is a wonderful role. It's an honourable role, okay? And you need to be humble, okay? But in saying that, we're a club that wants to strive. So there should be the parameters and the openings for all of us to be able to get there. And again, if it's Geelong, if it's, Western Victoria, if it's Northern Victoria, if it's anywhere really in Victoria, we all should understand that we need to support each other. And that just came through the applications that we had for our TD role was so wide. There was people from all parts of Victoria applying for the role.
There you go. Mark, on that note, thank you so much for being a big supporter of this program, not just this year, but for the last couple of years. And when I say you, the George Cross Football Club, we really sincerely thank you for your support. We look forward to a massive year next year, wishing everyone down at the George Cross Football Club a huge 2022 and indeed the entire football movement and football family. So good luck for the coming off season. And we're going to hear a little bit more that is happening at your club from Liza and John in seconds.
Yeah, please don't forget that, albeit if the vaccination rates continue at the rate they are, the club will be looking at opening around October the 26th. So I'd love to see everybody there. Santo, I owe you dinner, Santo. So please come and have dinner with me, guys. I mean, we're hugely respective of the times that we're in. But we're so hugely fortunate to be able to have a venue that we can open to the public and enjoy everything that I do speak about, and what everything else, all the other guests that you'll have on, after me will also speak about, the strong love for football and the long love for our game, and also a huge love for George Cross. So guys and women and ladies out there and everybody, thank you very much. And thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Good on you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
You're a bit quiet there, Craig. Is that because you've just been appointed coach?
I'm just trying to keep out with this.
Oh, are you? Okay. All right.
There you go. All right, Mark. On that note, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
That was Mark Sultana, the president of the George Cross Football Club. Gents, we're going to take a short break. When we return, we're going to have the general manager of the George Cross Football Club, and that is Liza Djuric, joining us. Don't go away, folks.
Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Rise, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Well, welcome back to the Football Outwear Show. Seems we may have lost Craig for a second.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be by your side, Tonci.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure he'll be back in no time. But should we push on and get our next guest, Liza Djuric, on the screen now to chat to us?
Absolutely. She's the general manager of the Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club. A very, very big welcome to Liza Djuric. Liza, thank you for joining us. And it's been a busy little time for you, hasn't it, in the last few weeks?
It has been. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on once again. Good to see you both.
Absolutely.
We've lost Craig, have we? Yep.
Looks like it.
He'll be back. Yeah,
that's all right. I think I'll see enough of him in the new year. So
yeah.
Now, that's what you've got to deal with now. Yeah.
In the corner of the screen, Lisa, in the bottom left-hand corner, we can actually see the new logo. So you've been having a fair bit of involvement in the production of the new logo. Tell us a bit more about that. How that came about. It looks absolutely fantastic, by the way.
I think we just wanted to tidy it up a little bit, to be honest. It was sort of left a little unopened, a little opened up, and we wanted something a bit more modern and looked like a badge. So, yeah, look, the board's been really busy throughout the lockdown. We meet weekly, religiously. Through the season and the off season, we probably stop over Christmas like everybody else, but the board diligently meets every Wednesday. So we do soldier on with some of these sort of non-football related stuff. And yeah, the logo was something we'd had designed for about a month and just sat on it for a little bit and was waiting for the right time. And given that the season had come to an end and we obviously are planning for the new year, we thought it was timely to launch that. And obviously we put up some new signs at our club and we deliberately couldn't put the logo up because we knew that that was coming. So we're
too early.
Now pushing forward to get all that finalized.
And Lisa, how do we come to the decision on the logo? Is there a few options put up and the committee sit down and choose their best one, or was that the be all and end all?
Actually, someone at Kappa designed it for us and gave us a few different ideas, and then we just tweaked it a little bit. So, yeah, that's how it came about.
That's why it's so slick. Yeah.
Yes, and making acknowledgement of the year the club was formed in 1947 as well.
Yeah,
but it does look very.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's key. I think it's something that should have been on there from the the get-go, and it's sort of, I think it was originally and fell off, and I think it's very important for us to do that.
Brilliant. Craig, you're back. And now he's got his cell.
Can't hear him.
Yeah. Take a bit of a toilet break, guys. Very sorry.
Oh, that's what it was. Yep.
Hi, Elisa.
Hey, Craig.
How have you enjoyed your day out in the sunshine today?
I have enjoyed my day. Went on a bit of a bike ride with my daughter. It was fantastic.
Very nice, very nice.
Yes.
Just if you haven't asked already, guys, because I missed the first bit, but obviously post-season, pre-season, the season hasn't been officially locked away yet for most football clubs' presentations. How's the club planning to do that presentation, and is it likely to happen in the next couple of weeks? Had any feedback?
Tough.
Tough one.
Yeah, tough one. I think so. I think the last few weeks we've just sort of been working on the new season. So obviously with the appointment of John coming on, that's taken up a bit of time with interviews and so forth. Like Mark said, we had quite a few candidates to go through. And it was really critical to us to make sure that we did get the right person. So in terms of closing the season off, we've sent out our end of season comms. It's pretty tragic actually that we weren't able to finish the season. I was pretty disappointed, and not just from a senior perspective, but more so for the kids. They missed out an entire year last year, and we were sort of getting through it, and we were literally, I say literally, had our team photos on the Thursday and the Wednesday and the Thursday before the lockdown. So we got in all our team photos, thankfully. And then the next thing you knew, we were shut down. I think the following, maybe that night actually, I think it was the night of the photos. So that was sort of the last thing, and it was supposed to be a snap lockdown, and here we are today. So I'm absolutely shattered for the kids. It's really disappointing, not just for all our squads, but also, we were planning to start our academy, which we will pick that up when we get back and get that kicking off pretty much straight away. But our Little Legends program, there's just a lot to do. So we will finish.
We've just had
a slight dropout perhaps there, but
Lisa,
give it a moment.
Yeah,
there we go.
In boxes. So unfortunately, we're going to be fairly restricted on return, and then we've got this mad rush to restart the season for 2022. So although we'd like to do something formal, I think we're going to bite the bullet and pretty much just hand out, the trophies to the teams for them to deliver, because we'll have to really convert straight into preparing for the new season, so that then we close off for Christmas. We'd love to have a Christmas celebration. We managed to squeeze one in last year. I don't know what the restrictions will look like this year, but we did manage to have a bit of a club event, which was a lot of fun, and we had parents and stuff playing and on the main pitch and stuff. So I'm hoping we can still do something like that towards the mid-December. To officially close the season. But in terms of individual teams, we'll definitely just do a quick presentation, and then and look, John will talk to it. John's sort of comes, he doesn't officially start until another 2 weeks, but he's been working on the weekend and doing some stuff because he's still employed, obviously. So he's been doing nights and stuff, just getting his head around everything. But we have George and Adam, who's our current TDs, have been reappointing coaches in our junior spaces, aside from NPL. But so we are getting the ball sort of rolling and getting ready for next season.
Yeah. Now, Lisa, as general manager, obviously you're dealing with all facets of the club, from the hospitality side to the football side, to the members and what you're not. And you'd be getting a general feeling out there. Are people kind of just over it? Are they kind of losing interest? Are they losing enthusiasm? Or is the fire in the belly still there, and everyone's really looking forward to 2022?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think everyone's gone through their lull and is now waiting for we can see the light at the end of the tunnel now, where hopefully nothing changes, but we're only really 3-4 weeks out from opening up. So I think people are now looking forward to that, and we can see that in the amount of emails that are now coming through to the club, and through the expression of interest of people asking, how do I join, what do I do, is the bistro opening, all of that stuff. So definitely there's an eagerness, I think, for people to come back. And the weather's been nice, and with daylight savings kicked in, so it's all good for the mind. And I think it's really important. If you ever come out down to the club. Lots of people exercising after hours on weekends. There's a lot of activity still going on around there, although it's not club generated. You can certainly see people, definitely eager to get back. So
yeah. And how is at the club? How is it like? Because you've set up like a little takeaway counter or whatever.
We just did that.
How's that going? Yeah.
Yeah, we only did that for the school holidays just because we knew there'd be a lot of kids and people out and about. So it was just an opportunity for them to grab a drink and something light to eat. We will continue that on Saturdays. So we will still be open for a few hours from 11 till 3 on a Saturday until we open up. So, look, we don't know what opening up is going to look like for us. The restrictions are still quite tight and it may not be worth us opening that first week at 70% vax. You're only allowed to have 20 people outside. Us putting on 2 chefs and kitchen hands and waiters and stuff to manage that may not actually be beneficial, but we'll assess that as that gets closer. Obviously, we're going through the process with the latest announcement about the business and the staff needing to be vaccinated and all of that. So we're going through that process at the moment, ensuring that our staff are vaccinated or in the process of getting vaccinated by those key dates that were provided. In terms of, I'll talk about vaccination for football. We don't have any clarity on that. I did ask Football Victoria last week what the policy was and if they would be able to seek some sort of clarification from Sports Rec Vic, and I'm of the understanding that is occurring. Josh Kennedy replied to me and said that there was no clarity at this stage, but they would be able to provide something to us because obviously I'm getting asked by people, what's the situation? A coach is vaccinated, what's the policy, etc. So we're hoping to get some clarity on that moving forward, as will be, I'm assuming other soccer clubs will have the same kind of questions. So, they've got to get onto it, give us an answer.
Sorry, Lisa, it's a bit of a delay, I think. That's going to be quite critical because if you can only have 20 people, you said, eating outside, is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
So
that's in the first open, yeah.
Okay, so you can have 20 people eating outside. So how does that then affect the changing rooms where you've got 18 people in a smaller confined space? So
that for us is, that rule is for us because we're a hospitality venue. So our restaurant will only be allowed to do that. The change rooms and so forth are separate to that. They're a separate building. It's really just the George's on Vista space. So under, anything that's George's on Vista, which is our hospitality venue, we're allowed to have 20 people.
And I guess that's what makes it hard, isn't it? Because you are juggling so many different roles. It's like the sporting side of it, there's the hospitality side of it. So it all comes back and it's a bit of a jumble. So certainly, your boss there is saying, Mark is saying, football's best a general manager. So at least you're getting some good support from powers that be further up.
I'm surprised he's not sick of me. We talk way too much on the phone.
He's in a very good mood. Isn't he, Craig? He's in a very good mood, Mark, tonight. So that's
is
good
he
to
really?
see. Yeah.
Must have been the prawns that he cooked up for himself.
It could be. Maybe there was a glass of vino or something like that accompanying it. Who knows? But good to see. Look, everyone's got a bit of a smile on their face, and there is, a little bit of optimism, as you said. So we certainly hope that that's going to be the case. But certainly you are going to be in a tough position because it's going to be very, very busy, no doubt, leading up to Christmas, and then after Christmas, preparations underway for seazen 22. But that's what we want.
I think any sports administrator out there, all the club secretaries and that will be, it's going to be pretty tight window before Christmas, and obviously NPL need to release out their trial date, so we need to see what that looks like. A-League clubs get priority trials, then there's the second release for NPL clubs. So it's our 75th year next year, everyone too, so we're planning something for that. Board's been talking about what that might look like, but
do we know the exact date the club was birthed, I suppose?
You're gonna put me on the spot. I'm sure someone put it in the comments. I think it's the 12th of March.
There you go.
1948.
All right. So in the early
I
part
can
of the
see
year.
Mark Gretsch there, so I'm sure Mark Gretsch is going to have a win.
It's going to be a busy year, but we want it to be busy because we know that then something is
Absolutely.
happening. So, Liza, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all your support in season 2021 and your wonderful contribution throughout the year.
No probs.
We really appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing you back on the show maybe next year.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
You.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa.
Liza Djuric, a fantastic contributor to the football industry. We need more people like Liza, and hopefully, all clubs have got great volunteers, but Liza's certainly a fantastic contributor to the club. Gents, we're going to take another little break. When we do return, it's going to be John Floros, the newly appointed football tech at Georgie's on Vista. So don't go away, folks. That's coming up straight after this little break.
CMF Soccer Coaching offers tailor-made personal and small group development coaching throughout the western suburbs of Melbourne and Greater Geelong. With over 20 years of experience working and playing within the academy systems of several professional clubs in both the UK and Australia, CMF Soccer Coaching has a player-first philosophy to ensure that all sessions are tailored around the individual's needs at all times. Under the guidance of UEFA and AFC qualified coaches, we specialise in one-on-one and small group coaching sessions offering European-style academy-level training with the sole aim of improving players' technical and game understanding in a safe, friendly environment. If you are new to the game or a seasoned campaigner looking for some additional coaching, then we can help. To find out more about what we can offer and how we can help you improve your game, visit our Facebook or Instagram pages for more information, or simply email us at cmfsoccercoaching@gmail.com.
Great to see one-on-one coaching and small group coaching is back, so we can finally have some form of football light at the end of the tunnel indeed. Gents, it's time for our next guest. Craig, did you want to do the introductions?
Yes, Tonci, I can. It's a big warm welcome to the Football Out West show and obviously to George Cross Soccer Club. John Floros, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, Craig. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Not a problem at all. Looking forward to the chat.
Good evening.
Evening, John. Great to have you. It's been a whirlwind couple of weeks from finding out that George Gero was departing his role, but now you've been appointed. To the listeners, tell us a bit about yourself and your footballing journey up until now.
Yep. Look, a lot of people's journeys are quite different. From my journey, I mean, it was working with the NTC program, Melbourne Victory youth team, for 3 years, and then moving overseas, where I worked in UAE for 3 years with Ajman and Al Nassr, and then I came back and basically just relaxed a bit, for about 6 months here, and then I went back to Kerala Blasters in India, and that was in the Indian Super League under Rene Mullenstein. So that was, everyone's journey is different, and I mean, every time I speak to people about, what I've done and where I've gone, it's a roller coaster ride for a lot. So then after that, I've obviously come back to Australia, and to be honest, the way I see a lot of the positions now are projects. So can you actually give back to the football community as well? So when positions like this come up, you want to be able to obviously build on what was previously done and what you can do, for the better of the club. So hence why I'm at Georgie's.
Very good, John. A little bit about that Indian Super League experience. How was the Australians perceived over there? Because they seem to be signing a lot of Australian players over the last few years.
Yeah, look, same when I went to UAE. A lot of the coaches at the time from Europe always say that the Aussies have a good work ethic. So that's that's credit to ourselves. However, in terms of football, generally they don't see us as good tacticians. If anything, they see us as fitness coaches. And my role was head of performance. So that was, that was easier from my perspective. But when you speak to some coaches from Spain and, from Portugal, and, they're like, oh, who are your famous, coaches, for instance? And to be honest, Angie's, a key part of that. And, now that he's, obviously gone to Celtic and done some very good things along the way, we'd like to see other coaches pushing, to bring Aussie coaches on the map, because we certainly have good Aussie coaches that can actually produce the goods. We just need to back each other and actually support each other moving forward.
So, mate, as someone who has had that international experience, and I'm looking at your resume, I mean, you're currently competing in AFC FA Pro license. You hold a Master of Sports Science in Football Performance. That stereotype, if you like, of Australian coaches not being tactically astute enough, internationally speaking, does that sit with you? Is that how you see the current situation in Australian football coaching? And what can be done about it? What can we do about it to change that perception?
I think the perception is because, especially when you're dealing with European coaches, a lot of the times they're like, oh, really? Australia, how'd they do in the World Cup? Or, there's always something along those lines. And it's very naive, to be thinking like that. But reality is, in our country, we have to have more full-time positions. We have to have football as full-time. So I guess, exactly what Mark said, earlier, it's very important that we help each other as a community to grow each club moving forward. And that comes with coaches, that comes with players. And, we do see a lot of young players now that are going overseas. We want them to be not only in the A-League, but we want them to succeed overseas as well, to put the Aussies on the map. And we did have quite a few players playing overseas 20 odd years ago, 15 years ago. And obviously that was really good, like in terms of Mark Viduka, Harry Kewells, Craig Moores, etc. But I think now it's time for our coaches to actually get that recognition, because the coach education is actually really good, moving forward. And obviously we challenge each other at the top level. I just think that, if there's more opportunities in a full-time environment, it'll allow coaches to develop better in full-time football rather than part-time.
In a project scenario, as you spoke about earlier on, so rather than being in a job for 6 months, as a lot of football personnel are, because it's not the type of job you're in it for life, and you're at the same club for life. It's very topsy-turvy. But to be put into a project that you can put your heart and soul into for 2 to 3 to 4 years is key, isn't it?
Yes and no. In terms of if the direction from the board and the club is aligned with your morals and values, yes, fantastic. A lot of the times what tends to happen is that, if you're at a club for 4 years, the question that you should ask yourself is, what have you actually done in those 4 years? Because you can also be in a club for 4 years and be stagnant. So there is a project element of it, but even if you start the project and you're there for a year and for whatever reason you move on, as long as you've left a legacy for someone else to take over and do a handover. Hence, George was at the club for 2 years. He's done a very good job. We've done a handover. Everything is great from that point of view. And then now it's, an opportunity for me to grow it that little bit extra as well. But I will not take the credit for it to grow. What I'm getting at is it takes a lot of people through that process. And it doesn't take one person for that project. Sometimes there could be 2 people involved in that 4-year project. Sometimes it could be 1. But I think the key is to look back and see what was there previously and where you've taken it, and to have those foundations in place.
Yeah.
I know, John. Sorry, go, Steve.
Speaking of previously, did you previously know George Djuric yourself, John? And what attracted you to Georgie's?
Just briefly, to be honest. Like I had heard of him through mutual friends, etc. And I know that the communication side of it was very good from his end. And I mean, George's has got a rich history. I grew up watching NSL. I was from 8 years old. I was at South Melbourne games all the time. That's how I was growing up. And I remember a lot of these clubs even going back and watching old games on VHS and all that kind of stuff. It's important, and when you have that rich history, you would like to try and keep that history, but then progress as a club. And that's what actually, speaking with Mark and speaking with Lisa, attracted me to come to George's for that reason, because you have to be progressive if you want to be at the top level, as much as possible, or get to as far as you can get to as a club.
Yeah, John, you've mentioned well, we're talking about creating full-time roles in football is a key, and that's what just Mark Sultana has put in the comments section as well. I know it's early days because technically, as Lisa said, you still haven't started your
Yes.
position, but you're already doing all the backroom stuff and what you're not. Your vision for the club. You've seen what George has left, his legacy. You've seen the situation or the facilities and the operations at the moment. 2 years or 4 years or whatever the case may be, what's your vision for the setup at George Cross? Here's an opportunity to get the membership really excited. But fast forward to 2024 or 2025, what will George Cross have because of your legacy at the club?
Well, two areas that we really want to focus on is player development and coach education. So when we talk about player development, there's different facets of it as well. Like I always say, in terms of player development, you can progress a player throughout the year and not wait till the end of the year. And constant assessments with players, so self-assessments to get buy-in from the players. I know earlier Mark mentioned about 90% retention or 95% retention. So if you've got retention rates, you want to develop those players for senior football moving forward. So that is a key part in why I've actually come on board for that reason, because retention rates are really important. And also to make sure that from the top, from the seniors right down to the juniors, that there is a pathway. It doesn't mean every single person is going to get there, but at least there's a pathway if the opportunity arises. If you're ready for that opportunity. In terms of the coach education, I think the most important thing is for coaches to get better. You're there not to be micromanaging coaches.
Oh, we've just lost him. Hello.
Oh, that's Lisa. That's Lisa and John now.
John,
Mark,
yeah.
investing some internet now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
John. We missed the last bit of that.
Okay, sorry. So the last part in terms of the coach education, I think the application on the pitch is where we need to really focus on this year. So George has done a lot of the hard yards behind the scenes, and we've looked at some areas that we really need to hone in on. The application on the pitch in terms of the coach education. So there's one thing about doing Zoom calls, etc. And I know that this year was quite hard, but we need to actually get onto the pitch and do just coach education sessions there. So the aim is to get the coaches better than, and give them the resources to become better themselves as well. And along with the assistant coaches getting better. And that's very important for the assistant and the coaches to work side by side. And that, it's they challenge each other. That's very important.
Now, one of the coaches that you have worked under in the past is the well-renowned Rennie Mullerstein, who I think you did a lot of work with him. How did you find, obviously, coach education, as we've been talking about there for a couple of minutes? How do you find working under Rennie, his philosophy on football? Obviously, he was at one of the biggest clubs in the world. How was he to work under or with in your journey?
Well, first of all, like I met him over in UAE. It was in UK first, and then I ran into him in UAE. Years later, fast forward years later, I met up again with him in UK, and he offered me the position to go with him to India. So, for me, that was a privilege that someone would ask me to go and to work under him. That relationship of being open to share my ideas to him, that's what actually got me the position, which was important to me. So we did have a friendship, and we still do have a friendship from that element, but also the honesty and the transparency that he actually would provide to you. Like, John, I need this done straight away. He would give clarity in terms of what he wanted for sessions, and I would have to meet those targets, which is, what you want. And I know we all say that, a head coach should be quite concise in the communication, but it's not always the case, as you know. So the application is very, very important, and how you actually, I think also by being at the top level at Manchester United with top players, the man management side of it is something that I really learnt off him. We had Dimitar Berbatov and Wes Brown in that Kerala Blasters team, and those boys, they were fantastic. Just to learn from two completely different individuals in just the way that they go about life in general. And so that, I think overall that's, what I can take out of it. And I forgot to mention this at the start. I was with the under 23 squad for 6 months prior to the Olaroos qualifying for the Olympics. So I helped out Andrew Clark for 6 months there while the Socceroos were doing their thing. And that also allowed me to grow in terms of how a national setup would work. So, working to deadlines where you've got 3 or 4 hours to do something and it has to be done. It's not as if you can do it at your own time. It was quite high pressure during those camps, which is, something that I can take away. So
brilliant. Steve, any last questions for our guest?
Yeah, fascinating. I guess one last quick one from me on another note, but not totally unrelated. John, what are your thoughts on the importance of for player development pathways in Australia of the national second division that's been proposed?
Look, I'm always positive about, let's get it going. My question would always be, from an administration point of view, we need to make sure that our thinking is full time, and it's it backs our coaches, because there's a lot of situations that we have a lot of coaches that do want to go to that next level, but structurally the clubs might not be in those situations, like financially or in terms of, do they have full-time admin staff, similar to what we were talking about, an operations manager of some sort. So yes, I'm all for it. I just want to see how that will come with players as well, being full-time or part-time. But I mean, what I do like about what they've brought up recently as well is from the women's side of the game, because that definitely has to grow now, and we have to get onto we've got to make sure that the women's side of the game is growing now that we've got the World Cup as well, and continue that for years to come.
Definitely. Well said, John.
Absolutely. John, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, and hopefully this is the first of many appearances on the Football Out West show. And like I said, looking at that resume, it's an incredible resume. So it's fantastic that you'll be able to contribute greatly to the George Cross Football Club, but indeed to the football industry in the Western Suburbs. So we look forward to a lot of interesting chats. And you did mention one of the key points over the next few years in your role will be player development and coach education. Craig, I guess we can mention that next week, the theme of next week's program is going to be just that. We won't mention any names as yet because we haven't confirmed guests, but player development and coach education is going to be a big part of next week's show.
Yeah, it is, Tonci, and you know, as John has said, it's a massive part of what we do as coaches. That's the whole reason we coach, is because we want to develop not only ourselves, but we want to develop the young players. And if I can get the contact over the line for next week, it'll be a really cool for us to get him on and to continue that pathway about development, because there's a lot of things that we do very well here in Australia. And as I said to you, I've only been here 8 years. A lot of good stuff that we do, but there's also some stuff that we can really home in on and be better at, to get away from the, I suppose, the outside views of what Australia is. We have some fantastic footballers. We have some fantastic coaches. So we have to get that knowledge that we have out there into the mainstream. So yeah, it should be another good show, and yeah, we've got a couple of nice guests. If we can get them over the line over the next couple of weeks, we'll really cement what we're trying to do on that youth development.
Absolutely. John, once again, thank you very much for joining us, and wishing you all the very, very best in your role as the technical director at the George Cross Football Club.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. All the best.
John Floros joining us as the newly appointed, or soon to be full-time football technical director at the George Cross Football Club. Gents, thank you very much for joining us. We've the final whistle is about to blow. We will see you guys next week. Steve, I will see you tomorrow for the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast at 7 p.m. And we've got ex-Socceroo legend, and now he's an author, also Andy Bernal will be appearing on the show, and it will be all about the Corio Soccer Club. They are the sponsor and the main feature of tomorrow's show. So we're going to have the president, Mario Gregorio, senior team coach Christian Bright, as well as Andy Bernal joining us 7 p.m. And that's going to be simulcast on this Facebook page.
Looking forward to it, mate. There might be some giveaways as well, even. Who knows?
There could be. Stay tuned for that. Craig, have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, and absolutely. And just to reiterate what we said at the start of the show, George Cross are our main sponsor. They've been fantastic for us over the last couple of years. Put my role aside with the club. They've been very supportive of what we're doing. There's nothing stopping your club getting involved and having the same exposure as George Cross gets. So if you do want to do that, get in touch with myself or Tonci or Steve, and let's put something together. But really big appreciation to George Cross for what they do for us over the last couple of years.
And I must say, and I'm going to miss out on a few clubs here. I know Melton Phoenix was one. Hoppers Crossing was another club. There have been clubs that have been very, very supportive of this show, particularly earlier in the season as well. So a big shout out to all of those clubs that have been supporting us. Look, I'm not going to mention everyone. We'll do that in our last show for the season. We'll thank all of those clubs. But next year, folks, it's going to be a bigger and better year. Let's hope. All right, guys, good night and have a great week.
Have a great week, guys.
Have a great week, all. Bye-bye.
Good night.